Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
It's finally the end of the week.
Our weekend is coming.
Yes, finally. So today we're joined by Wed.
And I
Again?
have the lovely, lovely Massa with me. She was complaining about her hair yesterday, but I was telling her today how beautiful she looks.
Thank you so
Girl,
much. I fixed
you are
it a little
rocking
bit.
it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So should we tell them what our top stories are for today?
Yes, of course. Let's get started. So number one, Salt Bae was spotted feeding the rising famous football star Lamine Yamal in Dubai.
RTA cuts travel time in Sheba by 60% with new improvement.
This TikToker made such a wild theory about Dubai Bling star Safa.
And Abu Dhabi is bringing you 2 nights you won't want to miss. So, in today's rapid weather report, expect highs of 25 Celsius and it'll be partly cloudy a little bit today, thank God.
So cold.
I love cloudy weather.
Oh my God, it is extremely cold.
But you were telling me something about a group that's a bit cliquey.
Not cliquey, no, because
Well,
I love them.
record.
I love them, okay? But
if you're listening to this,
I was.
What is about to shade you?
No, I'm not trying to. I was even telling them this, by the way. I was like, you guys are so, like, you're interesting for this. But basically, I made this, I met these new girls. Who I befriended like just very recently. And by the way, they're so bubbly and they're so welcoming. No, really, they're so bubbly and they're so welcoming.
Okay.
They make you feel like you're their best friend.
Oh,
but you're
cute.
you're not their best friend because you're on probation, low key.
What, like, do you go into probation for a few months or
Let
is
me
it just
explain it to
for a
you.
few
So
hangouts? What is
I
it?
was speaking to them and they were telling me how like when there's new members that are added to the group, they don't take them in right away. They're kind of on probation. You know the
So
same
are you
way
on probation right now?
I low-key think I'm on probation. I was like, guys, am I on probation? But they have people, like, they test.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I guess they kind of, like, test out people. If you get what like, for a good 3 months, they're like, do we like them? Do we not?
Do they like you so far?
Maybe, they do. They're so sweet to me. But the thing is that I think they do that. Them calling it probation is honestly just putting a name to it. Because if you think about it, when you meet a new person, you don't trust them right away.
But let me tell you something. That's literally the definition of a clique.
I don't think it's a clique.
That's literally the definition of a clique.
Okay, maybe it's a clique, but I know all of them and they're such sweet girls. I just think they coined it as probation. Because even I do the same, by the way. When I meet someone new, in my brain, it does take me time to fully trust them.
To warm up to that person.
And to even like to me, like the word friend, it is such a strong word to me. I don't just go around calling people my friends. Like, okay, maybe sometimes I'm like bestie, but like, are you my bestie though? Like,
it's
no.
just a saying, basically.
Exactly, but like the word friend to me, it means a lot. So when I call someone my friend and I show up for them, I want to mean it. I don't want to just act like I'm your best friend when I'm not.
Okay, that's being
do you get
fake,
what I
but at
mean?
the same time, like in the calling, someone entering a group, no, you're on probation until we collectively agree that you can join in. That's crazy.
I don't think they do it. I don't think they do it in a. How do I explain this? I don't think they do it like it's intentionally in words.
That's the mean girls. You know,
No,
that's how mean girls
but
are.
They're not.
If you look back to the
Massa, you wouldn't get what I mean unless you met them because they don't do it word in word. It's just kind of like agreed collectively of like. Do we like them or not? But I think what entertained me about them the most is they have this thing where when everyone decides like one person is not serving the group and the interests of the group, they do a HR call.
HR call?
They call it the HR call. And I was like, guys, you're crazy for this. Basically, they get one girl because she's like the most professional. She's the one with the most confidence. And that one person who like did them all wrong, there's one person from the group who's gonna call them and be like, oh, all of us like don't like you. Like
they say it they say it point
only
blank.
That one girl says it.
Point blank, we don't like you, so you're out of the group?
Not we don't like you, but more of like.
Okay, I have a question basically. If you're all part of the group, we're all in this group together, okay? And someone just did a little bit of shady behavior. Do you put them on performance review?
Me?
No,
Me
the
personally?
group. No, the group.
Okay, but wait. You know
they have probation, HR meeting.
Hold on.
They have a performance review.
Let me defend them. That girl, which they gave the HR call to, you know what she was doing?
What was she doing?
Okay, so basically all of them, because they're all like, they sit in this area, like literally on the ground, on the mat, and they share stories. You know what this one girl was doing?
What was she doing?
All the private secrets they tell her.
Exposing?
To other people in the university. So like if there's like, say there was like something like big drama that happened in the group and it's actually really sensitive, she'd make it her conversation starter with other people. Yeah.
This girl has no personality other than exposing
by the way,
people,
it's her
basically.
personality to, and you know what she'd do? they'd all hear about it. They'd all hear about it and they'd be like, oh, your friend told us this about you. Is this really happening to you? Come on, man. That's not nice.
Okay, I'd call for an HR review.
It's not even like
I would fire you from the group.
Right? Like, by the way, look, when it comes to gossiping, like, say I heard somebody is like speaking about me, but they're complaining about something really mean that I did, I excuse them. Because I did something to you so wrong that you needed to vent to someone else. That's when I excuse gossip. But if I tell you something personal and you go
around and you...
and you know, and when I say she went around,
gossip.
I don't mean to like one person, her best friend, she'd go around to everyone. And they figured out that she was even telling her parents everything. Bro, come on now. She deserved that HR call.
Okay, now
she deserved that HR. They don't do things without people deserving them. So with that one, I supported them.
You support them for having an HR call with this girl?
The HR call, yes, because I had listen, Massa, don't think I'm crazy. I had a time in high school where, okay, so my best friends, I love them, but we had this one friend, and you know when there's one person you all don't like, but you never admit it to each other?
Okay, but we're respectful, you know, we respectfully
we never said anything.
It, you know, we don't have like a collective...
No, me and my friend group never addressed it. We just sat with it.
You know, Anna, like, for example, if we don't like someone in the group, okay, we're polite, we accept this person, we invite them out, okay? But we don't call an HR call to have a meeting.
No, I don't blame them.
Performance review. I don't blame them. Person.
They didn't do a performance review. It's just more of, do you really want to live the rest of your life making other people happy or yourself? Like hanging out with somebody who does not make you happy.
What's the verdict? Is she out of the group now?
Yeah, because no, she did insane stuff. I just can't say it.
Listen, Anna, I'll be honest with you. Like, if you go around exposing people,
it's not nice. And she didn't do it to one of them. She did it to like all of them. Imagine like you're sitting with someone all the time and you don't feel comfortable like opening up because they're gonna take everything and tell it to everyone, like all your dirty laundry.
I wouldn't. Man,
that's horrible. That's embarrassing. Come on.
On that note, okay, have HR calls with your friends if you're not happy with them. That's the best thing that you can do. You have a contract. I'm assuming if it's legal, just do it.
Do your HR call.
So what's our top story for today?
Ooh, okay. So our top story for today, it's that Lamine Yamal was spotted in Dubai and he was seen with Salt Bae. So one of football's most rising young stars has been making headlines off the pitch during his stay in Dubai.
The 17-year-old was treated to the iconic Salt Bae experience with the celebrity chef personally feeding him.
So crazy. And it's actually become a tradition for Salt Bae to meet famous footballers, and Yamal is the latest to enjoy this unique moment.
And essentially, Yamal is in Dubai as he recovers from a minor ankle injury he picked up during a recent match. And it's been confirmed that he'll need around 3 to 4 weeks to fully recover.
Now, this memorable moment with Salt Bae is certainly a unique highlight of his recovery journey in Dubai. Now, what I find so interesting about this, Massa, is that he chose to recover in Dubai.
He chose to recover in Dubai. He chose to recover. He just wants to enjoy his time, you know? He just wants to sit back at home doing nothing.
Something that I know about football players, because one of my best friends is a football player, man, they don't rest.
They don't rest.
They don't rest.
Clearly, he's not resting. He's just around, like, being fed by people.
But as he should be, though, because when you're a football player, by the way, you have to.
You want to be spoiled.
You
want people to feed you.
Be under training. Like you're under physical training all the time. And I'm not sure if all football players adhere by this, but what you eat is important too. And not even if like quick metabolism or not, because of the fact that when you eat, I was told by my best friend that when you eat junk, it slows you down. It slows you down. So it's like him having this injury. Junk? Of course, but he's enjoying injury. He's injured.
He's a kid.
You know,
17.
Came to the best city in the
but
world.
Salt Bae loves feeding people. I don't know. He has this thing where he
I find that awkward, by the way.
It's super awkward. Would you like it? Would you let someone feed you?
Nah, girl. No. Like you know, in a restaurant, if someone did that to me, I would just be
I'd be so uncomfortable.
Stop right there.
I would be so uncomfortable. Like, don't come near me. I swear to God. If I wanted to have this experience, the most that he can do is that move that he does. But him feeding me, that's not gonna happen.
I agree.
That's really not gonna happen.
And
the way he looks at you, he goes like,
deep in your eyes.
Deep in your eyes, and he feeds
you. No, it's like I'm not a child. I would
he looks uncomfortable. I'm really sorry, but he looks uncomfortable. Like that's my
honestly,
my call.
He just seems very humble. He seems very humble.
He's a nice kid.
Honestly, I'd feel infantilized.
He's only
if someone
17,
did that to me.
you know.
crazy.
He's
Only
only
17
17.
and mashallah, he's already achieved this much in his life. Like that's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's so like, and it's lovely to see that now like young people, they're taking over everything.
Yeah, they are.
We're look at
taking
me and
over.
Massa. Oh, it's a Gen Z takeover today. But you know, like Massa with restaurants, I don't know about you, but do you like it when who like the servers interact with you that much? I don't like it.
No, I don't like it.
I don't
either.
like being interacted. Like, don't look at me.
Slight banter is nice.
Yes.
But don't touch me.
Not just that, I don't like it when they keep coming back.
Yeah.
It's
How's
like,
the food? How's the food? Is it good?
you know, I remember I went to this one restaurant, won't say the restaurant's name because the food was pretty good. Don't want to do damage. But, oh my God, you know, all their servers were staring at me the entire time.
It's so uncomfortable.
Like, you know, this was me eating.
It's so
Okay.
uncomfortable.
I just, no,
That's
I couldn't
so
do it.
uncomfortable, I'm telling you.
I really couldn't do it.
But there's a theory that's been going around.
Ooh,
What's that theory?
It's so interesting. So a TikToker user has come up with a wild theory about Safa from Dubai Bling.
The theory suggests that by naming her daughters Ayana, Alina, and with her husband's name, Fahad, she may have clearly embedded her family's initial into her name.
Yeah, so basically, according to this theory, the initials from her children, so Ayana A, Alina A, and her husband Fahad F, are all linked to form a subtle connection in her name.
And interestingly, she responded on Instagram saying, "I'm glad someone noticed it."
Can I tell you something? A lot of the people in the comment
That's such a
section
tough
were
word.
actually flaming the TikToker. They were saying she's so delusional, she got time on
What?
her hands, but
That's such a stuffer thing.
you know what? I honestly think the theory is true. You know why? Because
She
I
said it, she confirmed
Did you
it.
watch Dubai Bling?
Yeah,
No,
that's
I
such a
don't know if
thing.
she confirmed it because she has a lighthearted humor. But on Dubai Bling, what do her and Fahad always fight about?
What did they fight about?
The
clothes?
fact that she doesn't want to have more children.
Oh,
It's literally
yeah, that's
it's the
true. That's the
ongoing
ongoing-
tangent
yeah,
in the
that's so
show.
true.
So in my mind, I'm like, did she do this to say that's it? It's over. You know, it's just gonna stay as Safa. The family's just gonna be Safa.
So one person?
No,
Collectively as Safa.
because basically what we're trying to tell you guys is that it's the theory is that her name, so
The
S
initials, yeah,
Safa,
Safa.
A
A.
one of her daughters, F Fahad, and then A her other daughter. So
But she's so smart for this, honestly. No.
She is.
But it's such a Safa thing to do.
I
She's
know.
giving me
That's
ideas.
power.
So my name is Massa, so I have to think either I have
Oh my
A or
God,
S.
Massa. So marry a man and his name starts with S.
S or A.
Ooh, I would do S. So
But I wouldn't do like Ahmed or anything.
ooh, real, real, real one knows what she means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who knows what other people need? RTA.
Of course, we always need the RTA.
So RTA cuts travel time in Nad Sheba by 60% with new improvements.
Now, essentially, what happened is that the RTA has significantly improved traffic in Nad Sheba, reducing travel time by 60%. Now, the new entry and exit from Maidan Street, along with a roundabout on Latifa bint Hamdan Street, are set to make commuting in the area much smoother.
These improvements are a true game changer for residents and visitors in the area with faster travel times. The changes also help ease congestion and improve the overall driving experience.
Now, by reducing travel times, the RTA is making it more convenient for people to navigate key areas like Nad Sheba and Maidan.
Oh, I love
I
traffic.
love
I love
this.
road improvements.
I love this so much because, you know, I don't have my driver's license, but
I
I
love
saw
it.
this thing online where I don't remember what it was. I think, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I very recently came out that even if you're under the age of 18, you can get your license.
Yeah, if you're 17, you can
And
start practicing.
it's
yeah.
so funny. A lot of people were complaining because it was like we have enough people on the road. Don't give them that right. We have enough
Listen,
people
I
on the
wouldn't
road.
trust a 17-year-old on the road. I'm just telling you that. But I'm glad that we're not having a lot of traffic on the roads,
I think it
honestly. That's the
depends.
best news ever.
You know what? No, actually, I kind of agree with you because there was this one time me and my cousin saw a car speeding, and my cousin looked at me. He went like, "Look into the car," and I'm
That's a
telling
child.
you, it's a kid.
That's a child.
It's a kid doing. And we looked into the car, man. It looked like a 17-year-old
I'm sure it was a child. I'm
because
telling
they
you.
speed.
I don't
they're,
trust
you know,
them.
they're riding on that high life. Like, ooh, we're
riding
enjoying
on
life.
but that's low-key Mary speed. Anyways, Abu Dhabi is bringing us 2 nights you won't want to miss. So
Yes, and this December, essentially, Abu Dhabi is offering 2 once-in-a-lifetime music experiences you don't want to miss. So on December 28th, there's going to be Robbie Williams, who's going to be taking over Saadiyat Nights for a night full of energy and unforgettable hits like Angels and Let Me Entertain You. With over 80 million albums sold and 18 Brit Awards, this is your chance to see one of the world's most charismatic performers up close and personal. And to get the tickets, visit Ticketmaster.
And to ring in the 2025 year with a special night, you have to go down to the concert of Andrea Bocelli. So at Emirates Palace, he's performing there. Imagine the magic of his timeless classic like Condi Patrio, sorry if I mispronounced it, and the prayer under the stars with a gourmet dinner, fireworks at midnight, and an after party to keep the celebration going. So Bocelli's powerful voice combined with the luxurious settings will make this night you'll never forget. And also, children aged 3 to 14 get a 50% off on their ticket. So book your tickets now at Platinum List before they're gone. And this is your chance to experience a night that you will not forget.
I am so excited for
He
this.
came and performed before in Abu Dhabi, by the way, and like the tickets were sold out like this. So this is really your chance to go get it.
Honestly, I'm really excited about Andrea Bocelli.
Me too.
Really
He
excited.
performed at Courtney's wedding, didn't he?
Oh man.
So imagine
You
like
need
a
to be
lifetime,
there.
like a once in a lifetime experience of the artist that performed at Courtney's wedding.
And not just that, New Year's. Out of
New
everything.
Year's.
Like guys, your New Year's plans are set for you. They're made. You know
Yeah,
what
you have
you
a
need
lot
to
of
go do.
options, honestly. Like it's filled with options and things to do on New Year's. Like you
Yeah.
can't say I don't have plans or there's nothing to do. There's so many things to do on New Year's.
Yeah, and we're just going to be taking a short break now. We have a really special guest coming up.
So stay tuned. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is no other than Layla Saleh. Layla is a content creator and a thought leader known for her unique blend of spirituality, social commentary, and personal growth. She's here to share her insights on important topics from faith to identity and the challenges we face in today's world. Thank you so much for coming, Layla. It's so nice to have you on the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
So nice to have you. Now, starting with the first question today, something that we really want to know and we don't hear enough about is, tell us how this all started. Why did you start doing podcasts and where did it begin?
Actually, starting the podcast was an accident. It very much happened by mistake. It's a long story, but long story short, Bismillah, is I own a talent management agency and we had a meeting with Meta where they were just going through one of my talent's profiles. And at the end of it all, they were like, do you have any questions? And this was fresh off the boat of October 7. And I was like, what's up with the shadow ban? They're like, you know what, Layla, obviously this is a question that's been coming up a lot. We're going to hold a panel to address all of your questions. Silence for a few weeks, then we received the invitation from Meta and we go into the offices and it was a panel discussion and God bless the team. I know I come off as very cutthroat and very disciplined, but the team, they're Arabs, you know what I mean? They're our brothers and sisters and they were doing their best to just navigate those murky waters. And I just, obviously being Palestinian myself, Damin Hara, I was just a little, a little steamed up and I took the mic and I just kind of said what I wanted to say and I forgot that I'm in a room full of influencers and someone took a video of me. And then I posted that video, it went viral. And one of my talents at the time, his name is Sean, my parents are divorced, the comedian, I'm sure you guys know him. We had a meeting and he was just like, Layla, you could hear a pin drop in that room when you spoke. Just go into a studio and start talking. I called my dad immediately. I was like, do you want to go in a studio and start talking? And he's like, let's go.
So the first topic was about 7th October and what happened in Palestine?
It was about Bismillah, how do I say this? Just my inability to understand how a platform could try to gaslight us into believing that they're on our side. That was the initial thing. And then because I'm very faith-centric. Islam means everything to me. My God, my Prophet ﷺ. And if you're given the opportunity to speak, you should. And subhanAllah, everything always goes back to God. And then by just going into the studio and being ourselves, my dad and I were speaking the way we do at home, the way he raised me. You know, it's always goes back to God. No, anything you go through in this dunya, you can always take it back to Allah and find your solace there. And subhanAllah, I think it just resonated with people, and here we are.
On that note, what's the main message you want to deliver to people through your podcasts?
That's a tricky question to answer, but if I have to be really honest, just how beautiful a relationship with God can be, how amazing our Prophet ﷺ was, how rich our culture is, and that we don't need to look outside to recognize how just powerful and amazing we are. The global south, the Arab world, is just a beautiful, beautiful place to be. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I kind of want to remind people.
And now we just want to ask you, you're always discussing identity. What does being Palestinian mean to you? And tell us about that.
I don't want to cry. It means everything. Alhamdulillah, it is. It's كيف بيحكوا الكذب حبل قصير. That means lying has a very short rope, And also, off the back of that, if you give someone enough rope, they'll hang themselves. And I think as Arabs and Muslims, it was a very tenuous, arduous experience, especially hearing our grandparents' stories, hearing our parents' stories. My mom lived in Nablus for some time. My grandpa is very patriotic when it comes to Palestine. And we just heard the stories, We didn't even bother speaking to people about it because it almost became the norm. You didn't have it in you to fight people. And then when you're faced with what we were faced with October 7, and it was khalas, like I said, do or die, one day Allah will ask you about this. And I refused to meet him a coward,
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to do what you have to do. And being Palestinian is everything to me. It's such an honor. And I love how the tides are changing, how people view us differently. And there is still a long fight to fight, but I've never been happier to fight that fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's such an honor, truly.
You recently sat with Zain al-Rahma, and I'm sure you've discussed this topic with her. Do you think, especially this year, how people view Palestinians in general, did it change through social media? Or do you think we still need to work on that?
if I'm being honest, I don't think we need to work on anything anymore. It's one of the things that I have a very big problem with is I won't justify or excuse my being alive before I even argue why I'm human. And you saw that right after that, where you had to condemn this or condemn that or whatever, and then you had to justify your existence before even saying, I'm human. We actually have more in common than we do differences, and this is where people get it confused. But Zayn has become a quick dear friend. She's just a beautiful angel, and she's one of those examples to me of just a strong Arab Muslim woman, and just by being herself, you know. ترباية أهلها. She just خلص. She's just existing.
She was just really outspoken, and she was so out there, and that's how she started her.
How you see her on camera is how you see her behind the scenes. She really is just that voice, you know, and also she has a wicked sense of humor. I need to give it to her.
That's all Egyptians actually.
She's lovely. She's lovely.
You know, Layla, there's a question that I have for you. Something that I've noticed that really stands out about you is that, you know, other than the fact that you're a really good speaker, you're so in tune with your emotions. And I love it, by the way. I love that, like, you know, you allow yourself to cry. You allow yourself to be emotional, you know, on the camera, in front of people. And nowadays, you know, you guys might not agree with me, but it's so rare to find genuine people. It's so rare.
It is rare.
People don't act like themselves nowadays. And it's like, how do you let yourself be genuine even when you know you're in a room full of fake people? How do you still act like yourself?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I'm also asking you as advice for myself because I really love that personality trait about you.
So generally speaking, I am against the being over emotional or trauma dumping. I just think there's more to you than your wounds, and you can take that and make it something beautiful. That being said, the two things that will make me cry are my religion and my Prophet ﷺ, and then obviously Palestine now. These are the two things that just my heart aches, like truly just بينكسر خاطري. And if I need to shed a tear for that, then it's genuinely not something I can control. That being said, I think one of the few things you can control in your life is where you spend your time and who you spend it with. I don't surround myself with fake people anymore. It's just not an option for me.
When did you decide that? Is there something that triggered that for you?
Any other questions?
Yes, of course. So
no, I'll actually answer that. I'm just teasing you. Life triggered that for me. I think one day I just took a look in the mirror. So I'm 29 now. You guys were making jokes about Gen Z. I was like, oh, I'm old.
Oh, no, don't say that.
Millennial. But I'm 29 now and I'm turning 30 in March, you know? And inshallah, by the grace of God, if I'm lucky, I live to 60, 70. So if you think about it effectively, I'm halfway through my life, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at the trajectory of the past 30 years of my life and so much time that I wasted being around fake people, crying, not devoting my time to God and the Prophet ﷺ, not being heavy on my deen, just building that relationship that will غصبٍ عني better my life. That's out of my hands, you know? And I was like, okay, I want the next 30 years of my life to be good.
Yeah.
You know, I want them to be happy. I want them to be prosperous. I want them to be in service of others. I want them to be just meeting the best kind of people that are going to elevate me. So Einstein's definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Amen.
If I was going to stay at the same course that I have been on the past 29 years and take that into the next 29 years, what's going to happen?
So, like, on that note, in one of your videos, in one of your viral videos, you mentioned that I might be the villain in someone's story.
I might be the villain.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Is this a way of you telling people that do not seek people's approvals? Like, just focus on yourself?
It's not. So it's an interesting topic because where do you arrive at a metric of what is right and wrong? In my case, it's God, the Prophet ﷺ, and our book. Our religion, our teachings, it tells me right from wrong. And as inshallah, a good Muslim, what you try to do is apply that to the best of your abilities. So that teaches me where my rights end where yours begin. So you know what I mean? Once those lines are clear, يصير اللي يصير بعده. I hurt your feelings, you hurt my feelings. In the grand scheme of things, feelings aren't the most important thing. So if you cross a boundary and I put you عند حدك, and now all of a sudden I'm a villain, so be it. عادي. What's that meme? You're a clown in mine?
You're a clown.
Right, like I don't mind being the villain in your story because you're a clown in mine. خلاص, such is life, you know?
Yeah.
You, villain.
Just today morning, we were just discussing the difference between venting or gossip.
Ooh, yes, we were. And basically what I told her is that with gossip, like if I heard that someone was talking about me, but they were actually complaining about something really bad that I did, I would forgive them because I did something so bad that I triggered you to vent to someone, because the heart is like that. When you get so triggered to the point, you just start venting. But if it's you spreading stuff I told you that's personal, that's when I get angry.
So those are two very different things. And one is done out of hurt and one is maliciously done with intent,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So, but you also said a great point there. You said if that were to happen, I would forgive you. It takes a lot to be that bigger person and recognize you've hurt someone. Many of us don't. Because we've all hurt someone, we've all been hurt. But subhanAllah, and this is something I talk about all the time, everyone seems to be the victims. Tom, Dick, and Harry did this,
Every single person is a victim. I never wronged anyone. I am the victim in the story.
Exactly.
It's one of the things I really ask people to try to get to know them. What's the worst thing you've ever done to someone? And many a time I hear crickets. Silence. No one wants to acknowledge. Your subconscious sweeps it under the rug, you know? But one is done من غلة قلب كسرة خاطر, you know? That's a very different thing.
Exactly.
So that's the point on accountability, basically. So as if you take accountability and basically put boundaries around yourself. Do you think in this time and age, people might take it as you being the villain and withdrawing yourself from people, like cutting off people because of that?
Yeah, of course. People can always misconstrue anything that you do, but I also reach the point not to be funny, but if you don't pay my bills, shut up.
Oh, preach.
Like I've just reached the point where it's like, خلاص, يعني, you don't have that much of a say in another person's life, and also we're each allowed a certain level of strictness, but also empathy. You know, if I have the need to retract, then I have the need to retract. If you have the need to retract, then you have the need to retract. And it's why I think it's Gabriel Ruiz's book, The Four Amendments. One of his amendments is don't take anything personally.
Oh,
Don't take anything personally.
Don't take, and it could be so
really
personal.
true.
Can you say
It's
the name of
projection
that book
sometimes.
again?
It's The Four Amendments, if I'm not mistaken, and it's by Gabriel Ruiz, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm writing this down.
One of the amendments, one of the rules that you need to apply therefore is don't take anything personally, and it can be so hard because a breakup or God forbid a parent passing away or your friend literally backstabbing you, what could be more personal? But subhanallah, even that you don't take personally.
Wow.
It's not affecting you personally.
I have a question for you, and when I ask this, I ask you this as a Muslim. Now what we're seeing is it's so easy to stray far from Islam. It's so easy, especially like in the century that we live in now. How did you, because you speak about deen a lot, and I think it's so beautiful. What actually made you get closer to your deen? Because you said there was a time you weren't.
No, I've always been heavy on my deen.
Okay.
I've always been heavy on my deen. I was raised very Muslim-centric. My dad, but in a different way. My dad would always share stories and he would cry. He'd speak about the Prophet ﷺ, he'd cry. He'd speak about the Sahaba, he'd cry. He'd speak about Ali, Hassan, Hussein, and he'd cry. And it got to the point where I almost became, and I use this word very carefully, it's the only time I'll use it, almost jealous and envious of that love and that bond that he had. And I was like, I want that sense of belonging, that sense of whatever life throws your way, Allah is my anchor. So I've always been heavy on my deen. That being said, I've been distracted a lot. A lot. You know, life gets the better of you sometimes. But subhanallah, God kind of forces you back on your knees, back to Him.
Yeah, and I definitely think that friends have a role to play with it. So
100%, your
I made a
environment
best friend 2 years ago, and something that I always struggled with is I don't pray when I go out. It's really difficult for me to do it. And this
What do you
friend,
mean you don't pray when you go out?
as in, I find it difficult to like get myself to a masjid, get myself to a praying room. And I made this one friend, when we go out, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, they stop at a masjid. I cannot tell you
that's really,
how
it
many
affects you.
masjids I've like prayed at in Dubai because of them.
That's
it's
an amazing
so
thing.
crazy. I've gone to so many, and up until I met them, could you believe that there was only one masjid I visited in my life, and that was a masjid in my school?
Really?
So truly, it was only that masjid because something I was always told is that, you know, it's men who usually go to the masjid. It's not women. But then because of that one friend, I visited so many masjids and I saw so many women and I connected with so many people there. So I definitely think that your friends, like your environment, other than your parents, have such a big role to play in it.
Absolutely, you are the company you keep, and you are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. It's an interesting one because I think all all of us, when we're younger, we also go through the people-pleasing phase. We want to be popular, we want to be liked, we want to be invited to every social event. And it's so easy to lose yourself in that, especially through the growing pains of becoming a young adult and so on and so forth. And I went down that rabbit hole of bad company, and it was very humbling, very, testing, trying. But subhanallah, C.S. Lewis, I think he's a Christian pastor or a priest or something, and he says, what does he say? Experience is the most difficult of teachers, but you learn, my God, you learn. Something along those lines. I butchered it. And sometimes Allah thrusts you in a tornado just so you learn. But it's okay, and that's fine, but learn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have to give a shout out to one of my friends, Sarah Al-Hagroubi. She is my, honestly, a true friend. She's been a great impact, and she's one of those people that just come into your life and subhanallah just better you, just elevate you, just bring you closer to God.
That's the type of people that you need in your life.
Yeah,
really,
she's really wonderful, and very few friends, but very happy with it.
Would you say that we're slightly straying away from our own culture, our own identity, our own spiritual growth because of the Western influence and social media?
I would argue yes before. I would have said yes. I would have told you absolutely. There was a period of time, especially with the Kardashians and all of that, where we were, honestly...
And Netflix, I think it plays a really major role.
Yeah.
Everything plays a role. You know what I mean? There's so many things that play a role, and it's done by design. Certain things are shoved down our throats very much on purpose and very much by design. But subhanAllah, sometimes it takes a tragedy to bring people together. And since we've seen all the uprisings and everything that's happened with Palestine, it's almost as if people had this spiritual awakening where they're like, khalas, enough is enough. I don't need to look outside. We have so much good to offer, and that's why I love people like Zain Rahma, like my friend Sarah Al-Hagroubi, like Huda Katan just had an interview with Mehdi Hassan, and that woman did not stutter. If that woman didn't stutter, she was like, I don't want your blood money, and she meant it, and she said it again, and she didn't stutter. You know what I mean? So we have so many people, عنا, من بلادنا, من أدياننا,
there are such powerful people.
With just voices to look up to emulate, to embody. I think you guys also had Fadi Musallat on the show. He's one of my dearest and oldest friends.
He's so inspirational, mashallah.
What he does with the Giving Family, it's beautiful. They're doing it now every Sunday until, inshallah, the month of Ramadan, where we do it every day. He also didn't stutter. He was like, DJ Khalid, yalla, salam alaikum.
Although they're blood related also.
Didn't stutter. So I'm not going to stutter. Because one day I will meet my maker and he will ask me, why did I stutter?
Yeah. Exactly.
Did you do your part, basically?
Yeah.
Just that simple.
And just as a final question for today for you, you give a lot of advice, but if there's one thing you would want young women to really think about, what would it be?
If I say
one thing, like
anti-feminism.
this specific point, it's the one thing that, they should always use as a moral compass. It should always be there.
In the Quran, I think it's Surah Al-Baqarah, it says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عَبْدِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِي. It means, if my servant asks you of me, tell them I am near. I answer the prayers when I am called upon through prayer. And that is my biggest piece of advice, no matter what happens, no matter how far you think you stray, no matter how lost you think you are, no matter how hurt you feel, just go back to God. I promise you, everything follows suit after that. It's just, and it is that simple. It's one of the hardest things you'll do, but it's just the most...
My heart.
Yeah,
my heart. I felt it in my heart. I really did.
Alhamdulillah.
Layla, it was really nice having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming. It was a really pleasure.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you for giving us this in real life experience. I always say that I always watch your podcast. So to be on that other side of it, hearing it in real life, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
And thank you much for having us. So we go live every day at 8:30 a.m. So make sure to tune next Wednesday. And bye-bye.